Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you for now the last part of What If Reborn is Gohan in future timeline. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Quick update. What If Reborn is Gohan in future timeline is now on hold, since we've caught up with the author. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these three fanfics. What if Transmigrated in One Piece and becoming a Marine? What if Ichigo awoke his powers to save his mother? What if Transmigrated into a nightmare mode Dragon Ball world? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that as the series next. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 261, The Rise of Black Goku. Son Gohan wasn't surprised when Jiren agreed to become the god of destruction for the new universe. After all, Jiren was willing to do anything to revive Jiken, his master. Becoming a god of destruction wasn't a bad deal. Despite certain limitations, it allowed one to harness divine aura and ascend to true godhood, significantly enhancing their strength. It was, in essence, killing two birds with one stone. After a brief conversation with Jiren, Son Gohan departed Universe 11. His next journey took him across various universes, ensuring that the gods of destruction and Supreme Kais weren't slacking off. Despite their reluctance, the deities had no choice but to comply with Gohan's relentless oversight. Deep down, they all hoped this zealous new law enforcer would eventually burn out, take a long rest, and let things return to their previous state of ease. But contrary to their expectations, Gohan's fervor didn't wane. His vigilance continued unabated, leaving the gods uneasy and distressed. A month passed in this manner. Some of the gods of destruction, unable to endure the constant scrutiny, traveled to the temple of the Omni King to voice their grievances, hoping Grand Zeno would intervene and rein in the overzealous enforcer. To their dismay, Grand Zeno simply responded with a casual "I know" and dismissed them. Crestfallen, the destroyers returned to their duties, realizing they had no choice but to comply. After all, they never knew when Gohan might reappear and catch them off guard. Better to finish their tasks and avoid unnecessary trouble. Yet, even the gods weren't without cunning. They soon devised ways to sidestep their responsibilities. The destroyers began treating their daily work as mere excursions, taking leisurely strolls and returning without accomplishing much. When questioned, they could easily claim they'd been out working all day. However, their relief was short-lived. Gohan quickly devised countermeasures, performance indicators, daily reports, and a stringent clock-in system. The gods were stunned. Not only were they being micromanaged, but they also had to submit daily summaries of their work. Their divine status felt diminished. Were they gods or mere office workers? But Gohan wasn't entirely heartless. He introduced a 6-day workweek with 1 day off, granting them a semblance of respite. Still, the gods couldn't help but shed tears of frustration. "Lord Law Enforcement Officer, have mercy." As if that wasn't enough, Gohan occasionally organized team-building activities under the guise of fostering camaraderie and relaxation. Grand Zeno, ever fond of games and entertainment, loved these events. In the past, he'd had to come up with ways to amuse himself. Now, thanks to Gohan, all he had to do was enjoy the fun. In the end, the once heroic Son Gohan had unwittingly become the very thing he'd fought against: an oppressive taskmaster. But deep down, he remained dedicated to his mission, leading the gods with a firm yet just hand. Meanwhile, in another dimension, the cosmic tree in Gohan's private space continued to grow, now towering at 5 or 6 meters. The tree radiated a rich, life-giving energy, nourishing the entire other dimensional realm. Planets began to form, growing larger and more numerous each day. If this progress continued, it was only a matter of time before a new universe would take shape. Parallel world. In a specific timeline of future Trunks' world, another parallel future Trunk timeline, Supreme Kai Shin and Trunks joined forces to prevent the revival of Majin Buu. Together, they fought the evil wizard Babidi and his minions. Ultimately, Babidi was killed, and Dabura, the Demon King, met his end at the hands of an enraged Trunks, who had ascended to Super Saiyan 2. However, victory came at a high price. Supreme Kai Shin succumbed to exhaustion and perished. The aftermath of the battle was grim. The evil wizard Babidi dead. Dabura, king of the demon realm, dead. Supreme Kai Shin dead. Supreme Kai's attendant, Kibito, dead. The old Kai, sealed within the Z-sword, was lost when Dabura's petrifying saliva shattered the sword. God of Destruction Beerus dead. Because the lives of the Supreme Kai and God of Destruction were linked, Beerus perished in his sleep following the deaths of Shin and Kibito. Though Majin Buu's revival was thwarted, the cost was devastating. The Supreme Kai and the God of Destruction were gone, leaving the world fractured and vulnerable. Yet, despite the chaos, peace temporarily returned. Trunks, honoring Supreme Kai Shin's legacy, resealed Majin Buu's containment sphere, granting Earth a few more years of tranquility. But peace was fleeting. A greater threat loomed on the horizon, an adversary beyond mortal comprehension. This new enemy was a god, Zamasu. Originally the Kai of Universe 10, Zamasu possessed extraordinary strength, earning him a nomination as Supreme Kai candidate by his mentor, Gawasu. However, Zamasu harbored a twisted sense of justice, viewing all mortals as inherently evil. His disdain for mortal life grew with his power, warping his perspective to dangerous extremes. In modern terms, Zamasu would be labeled a psychopath. Zamasu's ideological clash with Gawasu over the worth of mortals escalated into betrayal. Zamasu plotted and ultimately succeeded in murdering his mentor, seizing the Kaioshin earrings and the time ring. Ascending to Supreme Kai, he initiated his sinister Zero Mortal Plan, a campaign of annihilation spanning multiple parallel universes. Using the time ring, Zamasu traveled a year into the future and summoned the Super Dragon Balls. With them, he switched bodies with Universe 7 Saiyan, Son Goku, becoming the formidable Black Goku. Simultaneously, the Zamasu from future Trunks timeline ascended to Supreme Kai with Black Goku's assistance and used the Super Dragon Balls to wish for immortality. The power of the Super Shenron granted him near-absolute invincibility, making him an almost insurmountable foe. Even when Trunks enlisted the help of Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta from the past timeline, victory remained elusive. Goku Black's strength grew exponentially during their battles, and he soon unlocked the power of Super Saiyan Rose. The situation became dire. Vegeta struggled against Rose Goku Black, finding himself at a severe disadvantage. Goku, despite his immense power, was overwhelmed by the immortal Zamasu. Trunks and Mai could only watch from the sidelines, powerless to intervene. Chapter 262, Arrogant Rose Goku Black. Goku Black's Rose Super Saiyan form radiated an overwhelming aura, effortlessly overpowering Vegeta's Super Saiyan Blue. Vegeta found himself battered relentlessly, his head ringing with disorientation, unable to discern east from west. A brutal flying kick to his lower abdomen forced Vegeta to spit out a mouthful of blood. He plummeted mid-air, his blue hair fading back to black as he lost consciousness. "Dad!" Trunks cried out, rushing forward to catch his father before he hit the ground. Spotting Trunks, Goku Black smirked with contempt, barely acknowledging his presence. They were old adversaries, and Goku Black knew Trunks' strength all too well. Back when Trunks fought him, he had been no match for Goku Black. Now, with his newfound Rose Super Saiyan transformation, the power gap was even more insurmountable, like the difference between heaven and earth. Mortals, Goku Black thought, were nothing more than ants. How could they ever hope to challenge him? Grinning maliciously, he taunted, "Hey, Trunks, I won't be sparing your life this time." Meanwhile, Goku faced his own peril. Underestimating his opponent, he had only transformed into his ordinary Super Saiyan form. Zamasu, with his immortal powers and magical abilities, capitalized on this mistake. Immobilizing Goku with his spells, Zamasu delivered a merciless beating, leaving Goku severely injured and reverting him to his normal black-haired state. Seeing both Goku and Vegeta in such dire straits, Trunks seized the moment. He unleashed the solar flare, temporarily blinding Goku Black and Zamasu. This gave him the precious seconds needed to rescue Goku and Vegeta from the battlefield. However, their situation remained grim. Zamasu had destroyed their supply of senzu beans, leaving Goku and Vegeta's injuries untreated. The despair weighed heavily on everyone. Could these two really be invincible? A dark cloud of hopelessness hung over Trunks and Mai. The only viable option seemed to be sending Goku and Vegeta back to the past for proper treatment. Staying in this timeline meant not only an inability to heal but also the constant risk of being found by Zamasu. If that happened, it would be the end. Resolving to act swiftly, Trunks decided to use the time machine to send Goku and Vegeta back. But bad news arrived faster than Trunks could react. Goku Black had traced them using Mai's key. Damn it! How could this happen? Trunks clenched his fists, teetering on the brink of despair. From atop a tall building, Goku Black and Zamasu looked down with sneering expressions, as if observing insects awaiting their demise. Goku Black chuckled darkly, You Scions can suppress your auras, but that woman can't. Finding you was easy. Bastard! Trunks cursed, but quickly regained his composure. He turned to Mai and barked, Mai, get Goku and Dad out of here, now. I'll hold them off. Go! Mai nodded firmly, immediately helping Goku and Vegeta toward the time machine. Trunks cast a quick glance back, then turned resolutely. Drawing the large sword from his back, he transformed into a Super Saiyan and soared into the air, charging at Goku Black and Zamasu. Even if I can't win, I have to get Dad and Goku out of here. If they want to stop me, they'll have to kill me first. Ah! Trunks roared, his golden aura flaring as he swung his sword at Goku Black. But the attack was futile. The same sword that had once slain Frieza with a single strike now met an immovable object. Goku Black snorted derisively, raising his hand to catch the descending blade. The great sword halted mid-swing, unable to advance an inch. HNNNGH. Trunks gritted his teeth, pouring more power into his strike. His hair bristled, golden energy surging around him. But Goku Black merely flexed his grip, and with a sharp snap, the sword shattered into two pieces. Damn it! Trunks hurled the broken hilt aside and lunged at Goku Black with his fists. Simultaneously, Zamasu made his move. Don't even think about escaping, Zamasu sneered, diving toward Mai on the ground. Mai was struggling to get Goku onto the time machine when she saw Zamasu approaching. Terror gripped Trunks. Mai, he screamed, desperate to break free and save her, Goku, and Vegeta. But Goku Black wouldn't allow it. Kid, worry about yourself first, Black sneered. He extended his right palm and pressed it against Trunks' face, slamming him into the ground with bone-crushing force. The earth trembled and dust billowed from the impact. On the ground, Zamasu reached Mai. With a wave of his hand, he immobilized her using his divine energy. The surrounding space twisted under his power, rendering Mai completely helpless. Goku had fallen victim to this technique before, and even with his Saiyan strength, he had been severely injured. Mai, an ordinary human, stood no chance of breaking free. Vegeta remained unconscious, oblivious to the unfolding danger. Goku, though awake, was too injured and restrained to intervene, his eyes wide with helplessness. As for Trunks, he was still pinned down by Goku Black, struggling in vain. What could they do? Mai, paralyzed and on the brink of tears, watched in horror as Zamasu conjured an energy blade with his free hand. The blade pulsed ominously as he raised it, ready to strike down Goku, Vegeta, and Mai in one fatal sweep. At this moment, a hand suddenly tore through the air, gripping the energy blade mid-swing. The plot's a little different, but at least I made it in time, said a voice with a calm confidence. It was Son Gohan. With Son Gohan's arrival, the oppressive spatial restrictions dissipated, freeing Mai and Goku from Zamasu's hold. Mai stared at Gohan's back in bewilderment, having no idea who he was. Goku, though sensing a familiar aura, was puzzled. This Gohan felt different from the Son he knew. Besides, with Gohan's face hidden and a tail swaying behind him, Goku hesitated to believe it could be his son. Zamasu, however, felt an unprecedented fear grip his soul. He tried to retract his hand but found it immobilized. Dispersing the energy blade in panic, he stammered, who are you? The terror he felt emanated from deep within, an instinctive dread he couldn't comprehend. If he had known Son Gohan's current status, it would have made sense. This was not just a disparity in strength, it was an absolute suppression of divine authority. Son Gohan chuckled, "I'm afraid I'll scare you to death, but let's just say your luck has run out today. You, a mere mortal ant, how dare you speak so arrogantly?" Zamasu roared, swinging his fist at Gohan. Bang! His punch collided with an invisible barrier of air, snapping his arm bones instantly. Ah! The pain was excruciating, even for an immortal like Zamasu. Though his arm healed almost instantly, he recoiled, fear overriding his fury. He dared not attack again, retreating several paces. Mai and Goku, standing behind Gohan, were left in awe. They hadn't expected this mysterious Son Gohan to wield such overwhelming power. Without even lifting a finger, he had driven Zamasu back in terror. Turning around, Gohan raised his hand, casting healing spells on Goku and Vegeta. As the energy enveloped them, Goku finally saw Gohan's face. Gohan? Is that you?" Goku's voice trembled with disbelief. Son Gohan smiled warmly, "It's me, Dad. I'm Son Gohan, but from another timeline." With Gohan's healing touch, both Goku and Vegeta recovered swiftly. Goku was astonished. "Incredible, Gohan. You've learned healing techniques in another timeline?" As he spoke, he gave Vegeta a firm slap to rouse him. Vegeta jolted awake, disoriented but quickly alert. Seeing Gohan, his eyes filled with surprise and confusion. The ever-perceptive prince struggled to piece together the situation. In the distance, Zamasu watched warily, his mind racing. He couldn't comprehend Gohan's sudden appearance or his overwhelming power. With Goku and Vegeta restored, the balance of power had shifted unfavorably. Boom! Suddenly, Goku Black reappeared, his rose aura blazing. He sneered arrogantly, "Humph, you dare shine like the sun and moon, you insignificant insect? No matter who you are, you'll die here today." But before his words had fully left his mouth, a muffled bang echoed. Blood spurted from Goku Black's mouth as he was sent flying backward, crashing into the rubble. Chapter 263, I am the enforcer of divine law, here to punish the fallen god. Seeing Goku Black and Zamasu flying, coughing up blood, both Goku and Vegeta were left in shock. Vegeta, in particular, was stunned. He had personally experienced Goku Black's terrifying strength and knew that the man's power was in no way inferior to his own. Yes, he had lost their first fight, but he still held on to the confidence that he could defeat Goku Black with the right strategy. But to see him and Zamasu get knocked away like rag dolls? It was unfathomable. Who is this guy with Gohan's face? Vegeta thought, his eyes narrowing. I didn't even see him transform. Yet with just a casual wave of his hand, this mysterious figure had sent both Goku Black and Zamasu reeling, spitting blood. It was beyond comprehension, outrageous, even. The two villains tumbled through the air before crashing onto the ground with heavy thuds. Goku Black staggered back several steps before finally steadying himself. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, his face dark with fury and disbelief. Behind the imposing figure of Son Gohan, Vegeta nudged Goku with his elbow, his curiosity getting the better of him. Kakarot, he muttered, who the hell is this guy? He looks like your nerdy son. Goku chuckled, scratching the back of his head. Ha ha ha, he said he's Gohan from another timeline. Gohan from another timeline? Vegeta's eyes widened slightly. Then, after a beat, he relaxed. It wasn't that hard to believe, considering Trunk himself was a version of Trunk from a different timeline from his own. But even with that understanding, the Gohan standing in front of them was completely different from the one he remembered. The Gohan in his memory was incredibly talented but had no love for fighting. Instead, he buried his nose in books, wasting his phenomenal potential. Such a pity, Vegeta thought. But the Gohan before him now? He was tall, muscular, and exuded a sharp, overwhelming aura of strength. A scion tail swayed behind him, a testament to his pure bloodline. Vegeta sighed inwardly. If Gohan had abandoned his studies and focused on training, he could have become someone like this. Meanwhile, Goku Black and the white-haired Zamasu weren't deaf. They had overheard Goku and Vegeta's conversation, and their expressions darkened. Son Gohan. Goku's son. Another pesky mortal from a parallel universe. His identity was clear now, just another mere mortal. But the question lingered in both their minds: why? Why does a mortal possess power that surpasses ours? Their pride was wounded, and fury bubbled beneath the surface. How dare a mortal challenge their divine authority? Zamasu floated over to stand beside Goku Black. Both glared at Son Gohan and his companions, their eyes burning with murderous intent. "We'll team up," Zamasu whispered coldly. "Let's take one of them out first. It'll give us a better chance." Goku Black nodded. Agreed. After that brief clash, they knew neither of them could handle Son Gohan in a one-on-one fight. But together? They had a shot if they eliminated one of the Scions first. But before they could act, Vegeta stepped forward, eyes gleaming with battle lust. "Hey, Son Gohan," he said, glancing over his shoulder, "mind letting me handle that annoying pink-haired bastard?" The thirst for combat was a common trait among all Scions. Despite his previous defeat at the hands of Goku Black, Vegeta still yearned for a rematch, this time, to win. Son Gohan grinned, pleased to see Vegeta's spirit undiminished. "Of course," he said with a nod. "Let the prince have his fun." To Gohan, Zamasu was nothing more than a clown now, a nuisance, but not a threat. Seeing Vegeta's eagerness, Goku Black sneered, his pride flaring. "Humph, you're really courting death, aren't you, defeated prince?" But Vegeta shot back without hesitation, his trademark smirk in place. "Don't get cocky, you little thief. I've figured out how to beat you." Goku Black's sneer deepened. Being called a thief didn't bother him, it was the implication that he could be defeated that grated on his nerves. "Oh, really? Let's see if you can back up that big mouth of yours." With a grunt, Vegeta powered up, red flames erupting around his body as he transformed into a Super Saiyan God. "Let's go," he roared, launching himself at Goku Black. "Oh? Red this time?" Goku Black mocked as he met Vegeta midair. "Not going blue, huh? Afraid you'll embarrass yourself again?" The two clashed with a deafening boom, their battle shaking the skies. Watching them, Goku felt the itch to fight stir within him. His fists clenched with excitement, and he turned to Gohan. "Hey, Gohan, mind if I take that Zamasu guy?" Son Gohan chuckled. "Go ahead." "Heh, awesome." Goku rubbed his hands together eagerly. Time to settle the score. He had been careless before and paid the price. Now, it was time for payback. He called out, "Hey, Zamasu. I'll be your opponent." Zamasu grinned wickedly. "You still want to challenge me, mortal?" "That's right," Goku replied, his face serious now. "Let's settle this, one-on-one." With that, Goku transformed into Super Saiyan God, his crimson aura blazing. He'd learned his lesson, no more underestimating his opponent. This time, he wasn't going in as just a Super Saiyan, he was using a form he could control with stability and efficiency. "Humph, interesting," Zamasu muttered, raising his hand. He unleashed a wave of purple energy at Goku, but with a swift movement, Goku vanished. Whoosh! The energy blast exploded in the distance, shaking the ground violently. "Take this!" Goku's voice echoed behind Zamasu. In a blink, he reappeared, slamming his fist into Zamasu's back. The impact sent Zamasu crashing through boulders, his body skidding across the ground before coming to a halt. But Zamasu only laughed, his voice echoing eerily. "I'm immortal, fool. You can't defeat me." Goku smirked. "Oh yeah? Let's test that theory." And with that, he charged in again. While battles raged on, Mai tugged at Son Gohan's sleeve, her eyes pleading. "Mr. Son Gohan, can you save Trunks? I don't know where he is. I'm worried." Son Gohan smiled gently, his confidence radiating. "Don't worry. Trunks' energy is still out there, he's alive." With a casual flick of his finger, Trunks appeared in front of Mai, lying unconscious but breathing. "Trunks! My gasped, immediately kneeling beside him to check his injuries. Without hesitation, Son Gohan extended his hand, casting a recovery technique over Trunks' body. Slowly, Trunks' eyes fluttered open. I'm fine, he whispered hoarsely, seeing her tear-streaked face. Mai's eyes brimmed with tears of relief. Thank goodness. You're safe. Without thinking, she pulled him into a tight embrace. Ugh, Trunks blushed furiously at the sudden affection, his face turning bright red. Son Gohan cleared his throat with a playful cough. Ahem. Both Trunks and Mai froze, their faces now matching shades of crimson. They pulled apart as if shocked by electricity, standing awkwardly. Trunks blinked, finally noticing Son Gohan. His eyes widened in disbelief. You're Gohan? He recognized the face instantly, it was unmistakable. But this wasn't the Gohan he remembered. The Gohan in his memory had lost an arm and bore a scar across his face. That Gohan had died fighting the androids to protect him. Son Gohan patted Trunks on the shoulder, his smile warm. Yeah, it's me, but from another timeline. Mai chimed in, her voice still filled with gratitude. It was Mr. Son Gohan who saved us just now. Trunks was still reeling. But... Gohan. What's going on? Son Gohan chuckled and gave him a brief explanation. In my timeline, I'm the enforcer of divine law. I maintain order in the divine realm, and I came here to punish a fallen Kaioshin who violated those laws. He pointed toward the ongoing battle between Goku, Vegeta, and the corrupted Zamasu and Goku Black. Chapter 264, Battles of Pride and Power. Law Enforcement Officer? Trunks blinked in confusion, trying to wrap his head around the title Son Gohan had casually mentioned. He didn't fully understand what it meant, but one thing was clear, this Gohan was powerful. Really powerful. And that, in itself, was enough to make Trunks feel a surge of relief. Brother Gohan from another world, he didn't die. Not only that, but he became even stronger than I could have ever imagined. It was a comforting thought, a small beacon of hope amidst the chaos. Trunks felt a lump form in his throat as he looked at Son Gohan, his heart swelling with gratitude and a tinge of bittersweet emotion. Noticing the redness in Trunks' eyes, Son Gohan smiled warmly and patted his shoulder. Silly boy, he chuckled. Gohan could relate deeply to Trunks' pain and struggles. After all, their lives were eerily similar, both shaped by loss, destruction, and the constant fight for survival. In many ways, looking at Trunks was like looking into a mirror of his own past. Don't worry, Gohan continued confidently, his gaze steady and unwavering. As long as I'm here, Zamasu won't be causing any more trouble. His words carried a weight that Trunks and Mai could feel deep in their hearts. It wasn't just empty bravado, Gohan's confidence was infectious, spreading like wildfire and igniting their own hopes. In Trunks' eyes, it was as if two versions of Gohan overlapped. The calm, composed warrior standing before him now, and the scarred, one-armed mentor from his memories. The dual image made his heart ache, but it also filled him with a renewed sense of determination. Standing tall, Trunks nodded vigorously. Yes, brother Gohan. Gohan smiled and shifted his gaze toward the battlefield. Let's watch how they handle things first. The clash between Vegeta and Goku Black, still in his Super Saiyan Rose form, had reached a boiling point. Previously, Vegeta had been utterly defeated by Goku Black when using Super Saiyan Blue. But now, fighting in the seemingly weaker Super Saiyan God form, Vegeta was holding his own and even gaining the upper hand. Vegeta's every move radiated confidence. His attacks were sharp, precise, and, most of all, infuriatingly smug. The condescending grin plastered on his face was like a slap to Goku Black's pride. Goku Black snarled with rage, his attacks growing more vicious with each passing second. You bastard! Wipe that smug grin off your face, damn Saiyan! Vegeta's grin only widened. Hey! That simple sound, dripping with mockery, pushed Goku Black over the edge. With a furious roar, he thrust his hand forward, launching a massive rose-colored energy sphere toward Vegeta. But Vegeta was ready. He leapt effortlessly into the air, dodging the blast with ease. The energy sphere exploded below, sending tremors through the ground, but Vegeta remained unfazed. With a quick aerial roll, he landed smoothly, his eyes never leaving his opponent. Then, without warning, Vegeta's legs tensed, and the ground beneath him cracked under the sudden surge of power. He shot forward like a bullet, closing the distance between himself and Goku Black in the blink of an eye. Die! Goku Black roared, his fist flying toward Vegeta's face. Bang! Their fists collided with earth-shattering force, sending shockwaves rippling through the battlefield. The ground beneath them split apart, and both fighters trembled under the sheer power of the impact. Goku Black gritted his teeth, struggling against Vegeta's overwhelming strength. Damn it! Why has your power increased so much? What the hell did you do? Vegeta chuckled darkly, his eyes gleaming. What did I do? Let my fists explain it to you. With that, Vegeta launched a relentless assault, his fists a blur as he hammered away at Goku Black. Despite his best efforts to block and counter, Goku Black found himself on the defensive, forced to retreat under the ferocity of Vegeta's attacks. How is this possible? Goku Black thought, his mind racing. His energy isn't as intense as when he was in Super Saiyan Blue, but his power, it's even greater. It didn't make sense. Nothing about this fight made sense. Desperate, Goku Black shouted, "Where is this strange energy coming from?" But Vegeta didn't bother answering. With a loud ha, he delivered a powerful kick, slicing through the air and connecting with Goku Black's side. Boom! Even though Goku Black managed to raise his arm in defense, the force of the kick sent him flying backward. He crashed through several abandoned buildings, the structures crumbling under the impact. Hateful! Goku Black hissed, rolling through the debris before finally steadying himself. As the dust settled, Goku Black stood amid the rubble, his body bruised and battered. But his fury burned brighter than ever. Ha! With a roar, he extended his arms, unleashing a violent shockwave that cleared the debris around him. A massive mushroom cloud rose into the sky as he glared at Vegeta with bloodshot eyes. Vegeta, still standing tall, sneered. What's wrong, thief? Embarrassed to lose to a Super Saiyan God? Goku Black's lips curled into a snarl. Oh, don't flatter yourself. I'm just getting started. Vegeta's grin widened. Poof. Then come at me again. With renewed rage, Goku Black charged, and Vegeta met him head-on. Their auras exploded once more, lightning crackling around them as their battle resumed with even greater intensity. From the sidelines, Trunks watched with wide eyes, struggling to comprehend what he was seeing. What's going on? Dad doesn't seem as powerful as when he was using Super Saiyan Blue. So why is he able to suppress Goku Black now? To Trunks, it was baffling. His own strength paled in comparison, and the intricacies of such high-level combat were beyond his immediate understanding. But Son Gohan chuckled knowingly. Ha, your father's gotten clever. Trunks blinked. Ha? Gohan continued, Super Saiyan Blue is powerful, sure, but it's not sustainable. It drains a lot of energy and can't be maintained for long. On the other hand, Super Saiyan God is more balanced. It's weaker in raw power, but it consumes far less energy and is better suited for prolonged fights. Trunks still looked puzzled. But if it's weaker, how can he suppress Goku Black? Gohan smiled, a glint of admiration in his eyes. Watch closely. Your father isn't just using Super Saiyan God. Trunks squinted at the battlefield, trying to pick up on what Gohan was hinting at. But no matter how hard he stared, he couldn't see anything unusual. Gohan leaned in slightly. Your father switches to Super Saiyan Blue at the exact moment he attacks. Do you see it now? Trunks' jaw dropped. Wait, what? With renewed focus, Trunks observed the fight more carefully. And then, it clicked. There it is. For a split second, just before each attack connected, Vegeta's aura would flare a bright blue before quickly fading back to red. Amazing, Trunks whispered, his eyes wide with awe. That's incredible. To be able to switch forms like that. Gohan nodded. By only tapping into Super Saiyan Blue when he attacks, your father minimizes energy consumption while maximizing his offensive power. It catches Goku Black off guard, leaving him defenseless. That's why he's at a disadvantage. Trunks' admiration for his father's sword. Dad, you're amazing. Back on the battlefield, Goku Black finally realized the trick. After being knocked back once more, he tumbled through the air, creating distance between himself and Vegeta. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, Goku Black snarled, "I see it now. You're switching forms, aren't you?" Vegeta's smirk deepened. "Heh, took you long enough. But even if you figured it out, what can you do about it?" Goku Black's eyes blazed with fury. "You think you've won? Don't be so naive." Meanwhile, on the other side of the battlefield, Son Goku and the white-haired Zamasu were engaged in their own fierce battle. This time, Goku wasn't holding back. Having learned from his previous mistakes, he fought with unwavering focus, pressing Zamasu into a corner. Though Zamasu was strong, his power still fell short of Goku's. The only reason he had managed to defeat Goku before was due to Goku's carelessness and his own cunning use of divine techniques. But now, the tables had turned. Goku's fists landed blow after blow, leaving Zamasu reeling. But there was one problem: Zamasu's immortality. No matter how much damage Goku inflicted, Zamasu would regenerate, his smug grin never fully disappearing. It was a frustrating stalemate. Goku could win the battle, but defeating Zamasu permanently was a whole other challenge. Chapter 265, The Birth of Fusion Zamasu. Goku launched a powerful energy blast that exploded against Zamasu, shattering one of his arms. But almost instantly, the severed limb began to regenerate, new flesh sprouting as if the injury had never occurred. At first, Zamasu would scream in agony when injured. But now, having grown accustomed to the pain, he responded with unsettling laughter every time he was hurt. It was as if the wounds brought him pleasure, or worse. Like he wasn't even the one being injured. A total freak, Goku thought, thoroughly annoyed by Zamasu's grotesque reaction. The situation felt eerily familiar. Goku suddenly remembered his battle with Majin Buu, how frustrating it had been to face an opponent with such overwhelming regenerative abilities. But even Majin Buu's resilience paled in comparison to Zamasu's immortality, granted by the Super Dragon Balls. Unlike Buu, Zamasu couldn't be completely destroyed. After knocking Zamasu back with a powerful punch, Goku paused for a moment, racking his brain. Maybe a spirit bomb would work, or even Master Roshi's Mafuba. But there was a problem. Goku didn't know how to perform the Mafuba technique, and the spirit bomb required an immense amount of energy and time to gather. In this devastated, desolate world, there weren't enough living beings to contribute energy. Even if he absorbed every last bit of the Earth's vitality, it wouldn't be enough to obliterate Zamasu. Zamasu, noticing Goku's hesitation, seized the opportunity to taunt him. "Ha ha ha. Son Goku, you're nothing but a pathetic mortal, daring to challenge the gods. It's laughable, nothing but a fool's dream." His eyes gleamed with malice as he continued, "All mortal are cruel, bloodthirsty, and violent. They have no place in this world and should be eradicated completely." Goku's expression darkened. While he wasn't the most philosophical fighter, even he could see the twisted logic in Zamasu's words. For once, he responded with something more than just fists. "You're the one who should be eliminated." Goku shot back, his voice filled with uncharacteristic anger. "You're supposed to be a Supreme Kai, but all you care about is destroying mankind. You're the real villain here." Zamasu's face contorted into a sneer. "Ridiculous. As a Kai, if I can't control the creatures in the universe, what's the point of my existence?" Goku shook his head. "Then you're not worthy of being a Supreme Kai at all." Zamasu's laughter grew louder and more deranged. "Worthy? It's not up to you to decide whether I'm worthy or not. You can't stop us." He leaned in, his voice dropping to a menacing whisper. "Didn't you see? You in another world had your body stolen by me. I heard from him how your family died, by your very own hands. They never even realized it was you who killed them. Ha ha ha. Goku's fists clenched tightly, his entire body trembling. Rarely did he lose his temper like this, but Zamasu's words struck a nerve deeper than any physical attack could. You, despicable bastard! Goku roared, his anger finally boiling over. Seeing Goku's fury only delighted Zamasu further. He cackled like a madman. That's right, get angry. It won't change your fate. We'll hunt you and your family across every timeline and dimension. This is the price you pay for resisting us. Understand? Ha! Goku's rage erupted in a blinding flash of blue light as he ascended from Super Saiyan God to Super Saiyan Blue. The ground beneath him trembled from the sheer force of his aura. Zamasu! I'm angry! Goku growled. With a sudden burst of speed, Goku used instant transmission to appear directly in front of Zamasu. Before the corrupt god could react, Goku's hand chopped through the air, slicing Zamasu's head clean off. The severed head dissolved into a wisp of smoke. But it was pointless. Zamasu's headless body stood for only a moment before his neck regenerated, a new head forming almost immediately. His mocking grin returned, more sinister than ever. You can't kill me, Son Goku, Zamasu hissed. I am immortal. Goku gritted his teeth. Zamasu, give it up. Even if you can't die, it doesn't matter. You're weaker than Trunks now. Your plan is falling apart. Zamasu's eyes blazed with fury. Shut up. I won't allow you to question our perfect plan. We will not fail. Goku smirked. I might not be able to kill you, but I can beat you until you beg for mercy. Zamasu's face twisted with rage. Try it, mortal. With a sharp yell, Zamasu raised his hand, and the ground beneath Goku exploded. The battle resumed, but the pattern remained the same as Zamasu couldn't match Goku's strength, and Goku couldn't permanently destroy Zamasu. The fight became a frustrating stalemate, with Zamasu taunting Goku at every opportunity. Meanwhile, Vegeta continued his fierce battle against Goku Black. Thanks to his clever energy manipulation, Vegeta maintained the upper hand, his attacks overwhelming his opponent. But Goku Black wasn't going down without a fight. Every clash pushed him further, and his strength began to rise as he adapted to Vegeta's tactics. Strike! Goku Black roared, materializing a massive, purple-black energy scythe in his hand. He swung it at Vegeta with deadly precision. Vegeta dodged swiftly, but the scythe's blade tore through the fabric of reality itself, exposing the swirling, colorful void beneath. The sight was unsettling, a reminder of the immense power Goku Black wielded. But Vegeta wasn't fazed. TCH. He snorted and lunged at Goku Black again, landing a solid punch to his face. Blood streamed from Goku Black's nose, but he wiped it away with a growl. Damn you, he hissed, his eyes blazing with fury. Pressing his palm to the ground, Goku Black unleashed a towering column of energy beneath Vegeta's feet. But Vegeta's reflexes were sharp. He dodged just in time, the energy blast grazing his face. Before Vegeta could recover, Goku Black teleported behind him, driving a powerful knee into his lower back. Arg! Vegeta screamed as pain shot through his spine. His body was sent flying, but before Goku Black could celebrate, Vegeta retaliated with another punch to his nose. You're not worthy of using that body, Vegeta snarled, his voice cold. The thought that Goku Black, the twisted fusion of a Kaishin soul inside Kakarot's body, was desecrating his rival's form filled Vegeta with rage. Only Kakarot deserves that body. No one else. Goku Black ignored the blood pouring from his nostrils, his fury mounting. He lunged at Vegeta again, and the two clashed with renewed ferocity, their blows sending shockwaves across the battlefield. Boom! Suddenly, Vegeta was sent flying. He crashed into the ground, skidding across the dirt. Zamasu had joined the fight, catching Vegeta off guard with a sneak attack. Vegeta rolled to a stop and stood, glaring daggers at Goku. Kakarot, what the hell are you doing? Goku flew over, scratching his head sheepishly. Sorry. Zamasu's tricky, I didn't expect him to run off like that. Vegeta scoffed, lifting his chin defiantly. Oof. In that case, don't interfere. Just sit back and watch. I'll take both of them on myself. Goku's face fell. Ah, come on, Vegeta. I want to fight too. Across from them, Goku Black and Zamasu stared at each other, their faces twisted with frustration and disbelief. This shouldn't be happening, Zamasu snarled through clenched teeth, his voice laced with bitterness. Damn it. It was a hard truth to swallow. Neither of them, despite their divine status and overwhelming power, could overcome mere mortals like Son Goku and Vegeta. The mighty Supreme Kai defeated by mortals? It was an idea they simply couldn't accept. It went against everything they believed in. The universe itself felt like it was mocking them. Goku Black's expression darkened, his fury barely contained. Damn it, he growled. If the two of us truly combine our powers, we'll be unstoppable. The entire universe will bow before us. You're immortal now, Zamasu, what do we have to fear? But Zamasu wasn't convinced yet. He glared at Goku Black, his frustration bubbling over. Then tell me, what do we do now? How do we fix this? Without hesitation, Goku Black grabbed Zamasu by the collar, pulling him close until their faces were inches apart. A twisted grin spread across his face, his eyes gleaming with a sinister light. He whispered darkly, we still have a backup plan. Why are you panicking? Vegeta, watching from a distance, burst out laughing, his voice dripping with mockery. Ha ha ha. What's this? Trouble in paradise? Are you two going to kill each other, or should I do the honors? But the two Zamasu paid him no mind. They were too focused on their own scheming. Vegeta's grin faded, the veins on his forehead bulging. Being ignored by his enemies only fueled his anger further. Then, suddenly, Zamasu's eyes widened in realization. His breath quickened, and a flicker of hope ignited in his gaze. You mean, the Pot-era earrings? He whispered. Goku Black released his grip, nodding with a malicious chuckle. That's right. As long as we fuse, there's no way they can stand against us. We'll become invincible gods beyond gods. The entire universe will kneel before us, and all living beings will be ours to control. Zamasu's face lit up with renewed confidence, his earlier despair washed away in an instant. Fusion was the answer. Fusion was their salvation. On the other side of the battlefield, Goku's eyes widened in horror as he pieced together their plan. Fusion, he gasped, his heart sinking. Then, without a moment's hesitation, he shouted, Vegeta, we've got to stop them now. Ha? What? Vegeta blinked, caught off guard. But Goku didn't wait for Vegeta to catch up. Ichigo, he yelled, quickly raising his hand to gather energy into a glowing sphere. With all his strength, he hurled the energy blast straight toward Goku Black and Zamasu, aiming to disrupt their fusion before it could begin. But it was too late. The Pot-era earrings were already in place on Goku Black and Zamasu's ears. All they needed to do was shift the earrings slightly, aligning them to trigger the fusion. And they did. Just as Goku's energy blast neared its target, the fusion began. Goku Black and Zamasu laughed coldly, their bodies enveloped in a blinding light. The gravitational pull of the Pot-era fusion drew them together with unstoppable force. Boom! Goku's energy blast collided with the merging light, causing a massive explosion. A shockwave tore through the battlefield, and thick plumes of smoke rose into the sky, obscuring everything from view. The ground trembled beneath Goku and Vegeta's feet, and for a brief moment, everything was silent. But then, a shadow emerged from the smoke. A figure stepped forward, exuding an aura so overwhelming it made the air feel heavy, oppressive. It was neither Goku Black nor Zamasu anymore. It was something far more terrifying. Fusion Zamasu. A perfect blend of Goku Black's Saiyan strength and Zamasu's divine immortality, Fusion Zamasu radiated power that felt almost absolute. His white hair flowed behind him, and his piercing eyes gleamed with godly arrogance. The fusion had enhanced not only his strength but also his twisted sense of righteousness. A smug, serene smile played on his lips as he surveyed the stunned faces of Goku and Vegeta. "You're too late," Fusion Zamasu spoke, his voice a harmonious blend of Goku Black's smugness and Zamasu's godly authority. Behold the birth of a god beyond gods. Chapter 266, Double Blue vs. Fusion Zamasu. Fusion Zamasu, the terrifying union of Goku Black and Zamasu via the Pot-era earrings, stood amidst the dissipating smoke. The fusion was seamless, perfect, even. Unlike typical Pot-era fusions that risked eventual separation, this one was stable. Because Goku Black and Zamasu were fundamentally the same person, different facets of the same corrupted soul, their fusion posed no threat of disintegration. Their combined power surged exponentially, creating an aura so suffocating it bent the very fabric of reality. Zamasu stepped forward, exuding godly confidence. His appearance was a striking blend of both warriors. White Super Saiyan hair cascaded down his back, almost reminiscent of Ultra Instinct, though his malicious aura dispelled any such comparison. His skin retained its unnatural green hue, a stark contrast to the dark, fitted combat suit trimmed in blood red. White combat boots completed his divine, yet menacing, appearance. He spread his arms wide, his voice dripping with arrogance. "Behold! The one true god of the universe, Zamasu, is born." Goku and Vegeta stood side by side, their faces grave. Beads of sweat trickled down their foreheads as they stared at the monstrous fusion before them. Pot-era fusion. It wasn't unfamiliar to them. Years ago, during their desperate battle against Majin Buu, they had used the Pot-era earrings themselves. The result had been Vegito, a warrior of unparalleled strength who turned the tide of that hopeless battle. They knew better than anyone just how powerful a fusion could be. Zamasu sneered, his body levitating effortlessly into the air. Then, without warning, he vanished from sight. Before Goku or Vegeta could react, Zamasu reappeared between them, delivering two devastating blows with godlike speed and precision. Bang! The sound of fists meeting flesh echoed through the battlefield. Neither Goku nor Vegeta had even seen the attack coming. Agonizing pain erupted in their abdomens as they crumpled to the ground, clutching their stomachs. The force of the blow was so intense that both instantly reverted from their Super Saiyan God forms to their base states, black-haired and gasping for breath. Ag! Goku coughed violently. Damn it! Vegeta spat through clenched teeth, half-kneeling with a ferocious expression. That speed. Goku's face twisted with pain. When did he even move? From the sidelines, Trunks watched in horror, his heart pounding in his chest. What just happened? I didn't even see him move. Did he attack already? A calm voice cut through the tension. Yes, he did. Trunks turned sharply to see Son Gohan standing nearby, arms crossed, a faint smile playing on his lips. His relaxed demeanor contrasted sharply with the chaos unfolding before them. Brother Gohan, you saw that? Trunks asked, his voice filled with disbelief. Gohan chuckled lightly. Of course. He's just a little stronger than before. It's nothing to worry about. Trunks blinked, unsure of how to respond. But Gohan's nonchalant attitude somehow eased the tension in his chest. If Gohan wasn't worried, maybe there was still hope. Meanwhile, Zamasu floated above Goku and Vegeta, reveling in his newfound power. Ha ha! This is the power of the Pot-era earrings, he declared, his laughter growing more maniacal with each passing second. So this is what true fusion feels like. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Marvelous. Simply marvelous. Ha ha ha. Vegeta's eyes blazed with fury. Humph. You think you've won just because you landed one hit? He gritted his teeth, forcing himself to stand. Good. Now I can take you both down at once. With a loud shout, Vegeta's aura exploded into a brilliant blue flame. He ascended into his Super Saiyan blue form, his energy surging to new heights. Without wasting another second, he rocketed towards Zamasu, fists poised for attack. But Zamasu only sneered, his eyes glinting with amusement. Overestimating yourself, Saiyan. In a blur of motion, Zamasu swung his fists at a speed imperceptible to the naked eye. Bang! 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 Every single punch connected with brutal precision. Vegeta had no chance to dodge, no time to counter. The relentless assault sent him flying, blood spraying from his mouth as he crashed into the ground below. Vegeta! Goku shouted, panic rising in his chest. Trunks clenched his fists tightly, his heart sinking as he watched his father struggle to rise. His hand instinctively moved to the broken hilt of his sword strapped to his back. Zamasu chuckled darkly. Ha! This body moves flawlessly, as expected from our fusion. Goku's eyes narrowed, his fists tightening until his knuckles turned white. The rage bubbling inside him reached its boiling point. You bastard! With a furious roar, Goku powered up, his aura bursting into the familiar blue flame of Super Saiyan Blue. The ground beneath him cracked from the sheer force of his energy as he launched himself at Zamasu with everything he had. But Zamasu was unfazed. He raised a single hand, effortlessly redirecting Goku's flurry of attacks. Every punch, every kick rendered useless. Aha! Goku roared, pushing his Super Saiyan Blue power to its absolute limit, unleashing his strongest attack. But Zamasu smirked. With a fluid motion, he circled his hands, creating a vortex that twisted Goku's momentum against him. In an instant, Goku's body was flipped mid-air and slammed into the ground with bone-crushing force. The impact shattered the earth beneath him, sending shockwaves across the battlefield. Zamasu floated down, his expression smug. Son Goku, your speed is laughable now. It's as if you're moving in slow motion. He sneered, stepping closer to Goku's crumpled form. Where's all that bravado now? Weren't you the one calling me weaker than Trunks? But Goku wasn't done yet. With a sudden burst of energy, Goku thrust his hands forward. Kamehameha! A brilliant blue beam erupted from his palms, engulfing Zamasu in a wave of devastating energy. The fusion's eyes widened in surprise as the blast consumed him. The sheer force of the attack obliterated half of Zamasu's body, turning it into ash. Goku panted heavily, his body trembling from exhaustion. Did it work? Vegeta, still struggling to his feet, stared at the smoldering crater where Zamasu once stood. It worked? But their relief was short-lived. From the smoke and debris, Zamasu's laughter echoed, chilling them to the bone. His disintegrated body began to regenerate, the missing half reforming effortlessly. Ha 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 ha! Marvelous! Zamasu roared, his voice dripping with sadistic glee. I see. I've inherited immortality from the fusion as well. Goku and Vegeta were speechless, their hope crumbling before their eyes. Zamasu stretched out his hand towards them, and both Saiyans suddenly felt an invisible force clutching their throats. They gasped for air as they were lifted into the sky, their bodies dangling helplessly. Ugh, let us go. Goku choked, his legs kicking in mid-air. Zamasu sneered. Poof. Let's see just how far my power has grown. Goku's face turned red as he struggled, coughing violently. Vegeta, this doesn't look good. Vegeta, his own throat constricted, gritted his teeth. Damn it, this bastard's not only stronger, but immortal too. How do we beat something like this? Goku's mind raced. Wait. Gohan, where's Gohan? Vegeta's eyes widened. Son Gohan? It was only then they remembered the mysterious, powerful Son Gohan had been watching the entire time. But before they could even call out to him, Zamasu roared. Ha-yeah! A wave of dark, purple energy burst from his body, blanketing the sky and earth in malevolent light. The sheer force of it made the ground quake and the air tremble. Chapter 267, Arrogance Meets Its Match. A violent surge of energy swept across the battlefield, an overwhelming force that sent shockwaves rippling through the air. No, get down, quick! Trunks shouted, shielding Mai with his body as the destructive wave approached. Son Gohan's clothes rustled in the wind, but his expression remained calm, unbothered by the chaos around him. To him, this was nothing more than a minor disturbance. Goku and Vegeta, however, weren't as fortunate. The violet energy struck them head-on, sending them flying through the air, their screams echoing across the ruined landscape. Boom! The explosion rocked the earth, leaving a massive, bottomless crater in its wake. Thick plumes of smoke billowed into the sky, and the ground trembled as if the planet itself feared what had just transpired. Ugh! Damn it, Vegeta groaned, lying sprawled on the ground. His body was battered and bruised, his strength nearly depleted. His fists clenched in frustration, and he pounded the ground with what little energy he had left, unwilling to accept defeat. Goku wasn't faring any better. Blood trickled from the corners of his mouth, staining the dirt beneath him. His vision blurred, and every breath felt like fire in his lungs. The pain was overwhelming, and standing up seemed like an impossible task. The power of Fusion Zamasu was beyond anything they had ever encountered. Their combined strength was no match for his overwhelming, godlike power. Dad! Uncle Goku, Trunks whispered through gritted teeth, his heart sinking. He wanted to help, but what could he do? The power gap between them was insurmountable. Turning to son Gohan, desperation etched across his face, Trunks pleaded, "Brother Gohan, please, help them." Son Gohan's eyes softened as he glanced at Trunks. He understood the boy's anguish all too well. But his voice remained calm, unwavering. "Don't worry, Trunks. Dad and Vegeta haven't lost yet." Trunks blinked in disbelief. They haven't? From where he stood, Goku and Vegeta looked like they were on the brink of death. How could Gohan possibly believe they hadn't lost? But son Gohan simply repeated, "I will save them." There was a quiet confidence in his voice that made Trunks' heart steady, if only a little. He swallowed hard, clinging to the hope that Gohan would act before it was too late. Meanwhile, Zamasu's laughter echoed across the battlefield, wild and unrestrained. "Ha ha ha! Perfect, absolutely perfect! Beyond my wildest imagination," he roared, his voice dripping with unhinged satisfaction. His aura pulsed violently, radiating an overwhelming sense of dominance and cruelty. He reveled in his power, basking in the despair of those around him. "This overwhelming force, this is what it means to be divine," he bellowed. "A perfect world without humans will be born from my hands. All incompetent gods deserve to die. I am the true god of this world, the only god." His eyes glinted with madness as he continued, "The supreme kais of the East, West, North, and South, the gods of destruction, even the kings of all 12 universes, they're nothing. They're obsolete." Zamasu raised his hands high above his head, his aura shifting from its usual purple-black hue to a deep, blood red. The sky darkened, and a sinister energy wave surged from his palms, expanding outward with the intent to obliterate every intelligent lifeform in the universe. Goku and Vegeta watched helplessly, their hearts heavy with despair. Is this it? Goku wondered, his vision swimming. Is this how it ends? They had saved the Earth countless times, defeated enemies far stronger than themselves, but now, they faced an opponent whose strength, immortality, and insanity rendered all their efforts meaningless. "I hate this," Vegeta thought, his teeth gritted in fury. "I hate this damn Zamasu. This twisted freak doesn't deserve to be called a god." But as much as they hated him, there was nothing they could do. They were powerless. Or so it seemed. Just as Zamasu prepared to unleash his devastating attack, the sky twisted unnaturally, and the energy he had summoned suddenly froze in place. It was as if time itself had stopped. Zamasu's eyes widened in shock. What's going on? The overwhelming power he had summoned was suspended mid-air, completely immobilized. The rain of energy he had intended to use for universal genocide hung in the sky, motionless. Who dares to interfere?" Zamasu roared, his voice laced with fury and fear. "Is it a powerful god?" He wondered, panic creeping into his heart. "Who has the strength to halt my power?" The thought sent shivers down his spine. Could it be the Omni King? The Grand Priest? No, that was impossible. He should be invincible now. No god could match his power. Then, a calm, steady voice echoed across the battlefield. Zamasu, you're nothing more than an ignorant clown. And you dare claim you'll wipe out all intelligent life? Zamasu froze, the color draining from his face. That voice, it wasn't the Omni King. It wasn't the Grand Priest. It was him. Son Gohan. With a simple, dismissive snort, Son Gohan annihilated the energy in the sky with a mere flick of his fingers. The destructive waves Zamasu had summoned vanished into thin air, as if they had never existed. Zamasu's jaw dropped. He spun around, his eyes locking onto Son Gohan. The shock and disbelief etched across his face were even greater than if the Omni King himself had appeared. No. Zamasu thought, his mind racing. It can't be. How could he, a mere mortal, possess such power? Impossible. Zamasu shrieked, his voice cracking. This is impossible. His mind reeled. This wasn't supposed to happen. He was the supreme god, the destined ruler of the universe. No human should be able to stand against him. But the truth was undeniable. Son Gohan had effortlessly neutralized his most powerful attack. Desperate for an explanation, Zamasu convinced himself it was all a dream. Ha ha ha. Don't try to trick me, he laughed, his voice manic. I know the truth. This is just a dream, my dream. His eyes turned bloodshot, and his laughter grew louder, more unhinged. Ha ha ha. It has to be a dream. Wake up, Zamasu. Wake up soon. Ha 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 ha. Son Gohan watched him with a calm, almost pitying expression. He really is insane, Gohan thought. Even gods can fall prey to their own arrogance. But Zamasu wasn't the only one stunned by Gohan's display of power. Goku and Vegeta stared in disbelief, their exhaustion momentarily forgotten. Did Gohan really do that? Goku whispered, swallowing hard. Even for him, this was difficult to comprehend. Vegeta, ever the proud warrior, could only mutter, impressive. Compared to Goku, he seemed more accepting of Gohan's overwhelming strength, though the surprise was still evident in his voice. Trunks, meanwhile, was filled with awe. His eyes sparkled as he whispered, Brother Gohan, you're amazing. For Trunks, Son Gohan had always been a symbol of hope and strength. Seeing him now, standing tall, effortlessly overpowering a god, was like watching a dream come to life. Tears welled up in Trunks' eyes, and he quickly rubbed them away. That's great. That's really great. Mai, standing beside him, gently squeezed his hand, sharing in his relief. Meanwhile, Zamasu stared blankly at Son Gohan, his mind struggling to process what had happened. But after a moment of silence, his twisted grin returned. Ha ha, he cackled. I almost forgot. I'm immortal. What do I have to fear? His laughter grew louder, more deranged. You can't defeat me. I'm immortal. Ha ha ha. Even in the face of absolute power, Zamasu clung to his arrogance, convinced that his immortality made him untouchable. Chapter 268, Zamasu's Desperate Helplessness. Yes, Zamasu was immortal. He had made a wish to the Super Dragon, ensuring that no force in the universe could ever claim his life. With that immortality, what did he have to fear? Nothing. As long as he existed, this god, Zamasu, was invincible. His laughter echoed across the battlefield, maniacal and unrestrained, as if mocking Son Gohan for even daring to oppose him. But Son Gohan merely smirked in return. An immortal body, he sneered, his voice calm and dripping with condescension. Then, without warning, Son Gohan punched the air. Bang! Zamasu, who had been floating a fair distance away, felt a sudden, excruciating pain rip through his body. He hadn't even seen Son Gohan move, yet most of his body exploded into a grotesque mess of flesh and blood, splattering across the shattered earth. What? With only half of his body remaining, Zamasu gaped in shock. His mouth hung open, and his single remaining eye trembled with disbelief. Moments ago, Son Gohan had only restricted his movements, limiting his power. But now, his body had been obliterated with nothing more than a casual punch. The sensation was unlike anything he'd experienced before. This wasn't just physical destruction, this was a tremor that shook him to his very core, a fear that burrowed deep into his immortal soul. Zamasu felt his mind fraying as he screamed hysterically, Who are you? You can't be Son Gohan. Even as the mangled remnants of his body began to reassemble, reforming into a grotesque humanoid shape, his mind spiraled into chaos. But Son Gohan merely shook his head. No, Zamasu. I am Son Gohan. Impossible. Zamasu shrieked, his voice breaking with panic. He refused to believe it. If Son Gohan was truly this powerful, why would I have ever needed Goku's body? Zamasu thought, his mind racing in circles. I should have taken over his body instead. Hatred bubbled within him, but it was overshadowed by something far worse, fear. In his memories, Son Gohan had been nothing more than a naive, skinny boy. The son of Goku. A half-breed scion with no true divine potential. But now, the reality before him was incomprehensible. This couldn't be the same Son Gohan. It was unacceptable. It defied logic. Moreover, something else gnawed at the edge of Zamasu's mind, his self-healing, which should have been instantaneous, was sluggish. The damage Son Gohan inflicted was taking longer to recover from, and that realization sent a fresh wave of terror coursing through him. Son Gohan chuckled, his voice low and mocking. I can't help it if you don't believe me. Honestly, Zamasu, if I wanted you dead, you'd have been obliterated with that punch. The only reason you're still alive is because I haven't judged you yet. Zamasu's eye twitched, his face contorting with rage and confusion. Ridiculous. I have an immortal body. You can't kill me. I am a god. How dare you talk about judging me? But despite his defiant words, there was no confidence in Zamasu's voice. The oppressive weight of Son Gohan's presence bore down on him like a mountain, suffocating and inescapable. With a sudden, furious roar, Zamasu's aura flared, distorting the air around him with violent heat. Hiya, he bellowed, the veins on his forehead bulging as he summoned every ounce of his power. I'll show you my true strength, he screamed, his face twisted with desperation and rage. He launched himself at Son Gohan, his fists blazing with energy, tearing through the air with terrifying speed. In mere seconds, he closed the distance between them, his fist aimed straight at Son Gohan's face. But Son Gohan didn't flinch. He didn't even blink. Instead, he raised a single hand, extending just one finger, and effortlessly stopped Zamasu's punch mid-air. Boom! The moment their energies collided, a shockwave rippled through the battlefield. Then came the scream. Aha! Zamasu's eyes bulged in horror as his arm snapped at the elbow, the bone cracking under the sheer force of Son Gohan's single finger. This can't be real. Zamasu stumbled backward, clutching his shattered arm as purple energy bubbled across his skin, struggling to heal the injury. Watching from the sidelines, Goku and Vegeta swallowed hard, their eyes wide with a mix of shock and awe. Did Gohan just? Goku stammered, unable to finish the sentence. Vegeta's mouth hung slightly open, his pride momentarily forgotten. Unbelievable. They knew exactly how powerful Fusion Zamasu was. They had fought him, felt his overwhelming strength firsthand. But here was Son Gohan, treating him like a mere child. For some reason, despite their shock, a sense of pride welled up inside both of them. Zamasu's entire body trembled as he stumbled backward, his voice shaking with both fury and fear. Why you're blaspheming the gods. Son Gohan raised an eyebrow, his expression cold and unamused. Blasphemy, he scoffed. Zamasu, you're not even worthy of being called a Supreme Kai, and you dare act so arrogantly before me? As he spoke, a divine aura radiated from Son Gohan's body, illuminating the battlefield. Behind him, a brilliant circle of light formed, glowing brighter than the sun itself. The ground trembled under the weight of his presence. Zamasu's eyes widened in sheer terror. His knees buckled, and before he could stop himself, he collapsed to the ground, trembling violently. Why who are you? Zamasu stammered, his voice barely more than a whisper. For the first time in his existence, he felt true fear. The divine aura emanating from Son Gohan was suffocating, far beyond anything Zamasu had ever encountered. Not even the mightiest gods he'd met had made him feel this powerless. Only the Grand Priest had ever made him feel like this. Son Gohan's eyes narrowed as he spoke, his voice steady and authoritative. I am the enforcer of divine law, Son Gohan. The words echoed like thunder in Zamasu's ears, shaking him to his very core. The enforcer of divine law. Zamasu didn't fully understand what that title meant, but as a god himself, he felt the undeniable weight of divine authority behind it. The absolute power. It was the same feeling Piccolo had experienced when he first encountered Supreme Kai-Shin, crippling fear in the face of divine hierarchy. Zamasu prostrated himself on the ground, his body trembling uncontrollably, too afraid to even speak. Son Gohan stared down at him, his expression unreadable. Zamasu, he began, his voice echoing across the battlefield, as a trainee Kaioshin, you've twisted your mind, murdered your teacher, and attempted to annihilate all life in the universe. Do you acknowledge your crimes? Zamasu didn't dare raise his head. His body shook violently as he clung to the ground. Son Gohan's voice grew colder. I heard your grand speeches earlier, Zamasu. But now, here you are, too scared to even speak. How pathetic. Suddenly, Zamasu's hands glowed with a dark, malevolent energy. He poured his power into the earth, a desperate attempt to destroy the planet and escape his fate. Boom! In an instant, the earth exploded, shattering into a million pieces. But just as quickly, everything stopped. A bright light flashed, and time reversed itself. The planet reformed, the destruction undone as if it had never happened. Zamasu's eyes widened in disbelief. What just happened? For a brief moment, he convinced himself he had imagined the whole thing, that it had been nothing more than a fleeting thought. But Son Gohan's next words sent ice coursing through his veins. I can turn back time, Zamasu, Gohan said calmly, his voice carrying an unmistakable finality. I saw what you tried to do. You've just added another crime to your list. Zamasu's body trembled violently. I really did destroy the earth, he realized. But, he undid it, like it was nothing. For the first time in his life, Zamasu felt utterly helpless. Then, to his utter confusion, Son Gohan turned and called out, Dad, Uncle Vegeta, do you want to finish him off yourselves? Zamasu's mind reeled. What? A wave of black question marks might as well have floated above his head as he lay on the ground. You're going to let them finish me? Is this a joke? Chapter 269, Vegito appears across timeline. Just the two of them? Zamasu stared at Goku and Vegeta in disbelief. Do they honestly think they can defeat me? The idea was laughable. After all, what could Goku and Vegeta possibly do to kill him now? They had struggled against his fused form, and despite their tenacity, their efforts had been futile. The notion of them posing any real threat was impossible. But Zamasu wasn't the only one surprised. Goku and Vegeta exchanged glances, both of them slightly stunned by Son Gohan's suggestion. They were all too familiar with Fusion Zamasu's overwhelming power. The previous battle had made it abundantly clear. He was far beyond their current capabilities. Sure, they could risk their lives and maybe, just maybe, hold out for a while. But winning? That seemed like a far-off dream. Even Vegeta, with his legendary pride and confidence, knew the odds weren't in their favor. And while Goku's love for a good fight was unmatched, he wasn't stupid. He could feel it in his bones, the massive gap between their strength and Zamasu's. But then again, Saiyan blood was not to be underestimated. No matter how strong their opponent was, backing down was never an option. If anything, the challenge only ignited their fighting spirit further. Without a moment's hesitation, Goku blurted out, yes. I want to fight again. There was something stirring inside him. A feeling. He was close, so close, to breaking through to a new level. He could sense it. This battle might be the key. Vegeta, unwilling to be left behind, quickly shot back, "Kakarot, I will fight first." Son Gohan sighed, already expecting this response. Of course, he thought. The two of them were eager to fight, but as usual, they wanted to do it their way individually, without joining forces. "Listen," Son Gohan said, his voice calm but firm, "if you fight him one-on-one, you'll lose. The only way to defeat Zamasu now is if you two fuse." Fusion? Zamasu's heart skipped a beat. Mere mortals, fusing? The idea offended him. Where is the divine order in that? Where is the respect for the gods? But then, as the shock faded, he saw something else, an opportunity. If Goku and Vegeta fused and he still managed to defeat them, perhaps he could bargain with Son Gohan. Maybe, just maybe, he could negotiate his survival. Meanwhile, Goku and Vegeta exchanged glances again. Goku's face was lit with excitement, clearly open to the idea. But Vegeta's reaction was immediate and absolute. "I will never fuse with this idiot Kakarot, even if it kills me," Vegeta snapped, his face dark with frustration. To Vegeta, fusing with Goku was worse than death. His Saiyan pride simply couldn't stomach the idea. He wanted to win on his own terms, or not at all. "But Vegeta," Goku protested, his face falling into a sad pout. "I think we should at least give it a shot." Vegeta glared at him, his eyes burning with intensity. "Didn't you hear me, Kakarot? I'd rather die than fuse with you." "Vegeta! Shut up!" Vegeta barked. Son Gohan rubbed his temples, exasperated. No matter the time or space, getting these two to fuse is impossible. "Well," Gohan sighed, "if that's the case, I'll just kill him myself." Zamasu's eyes widened in panic. "Wait, what?" No, he thought, his mind spiraling into chaos. "I still have a chance." Desperate, Zamasu stammered, "W8. Are you sure you don't want to reconsider? And maybe fusion isn't such a bad idea." His voice trembled with fear, his body growing cold. He could feel his end approaching. But Son Gohan's voice rang out like a death knell. "Too late. Die, Zamasu." "No, don't!" Zamasu screamed, his voice cracking with sheer terror. But it was over. Zamasu's body began to melt, his form disintegrating rapidly until there was nothing left. He vanished completely, as if he had never existed. The battlefield fell silent, the only remnants of the battle being the devastation that surrounded them. Trunks and Mai stood in stunned silence, their eyes wide with disbelief. Goku and Vegeta, too, were frozen, unable to fully process what had just happened. Trunks was the first to break the silence. It's over," he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Son Gohan shrugged casually, spreading his hands. "What else? Of course it's over." Trunks let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. That's great. Thank goodness we had you, brother Gohan." Mai nodded, smiling warmly. She didn't fully understand the complexity of what had just happened, but she knew one thing for certain: they were alive, and Trunks was safe. That was all that mattered to her. But Vegeta felt a strange emptiness. He couldn't shake the feeling that he had lost something by refusing to fuse. His pride had cost him the chance to fight Zamasu again, and it gnawed at him. Goku, on the other hand, felt a different kind of regret. He had been so close to another fight, another chance to push his limits. But now, that opportunity was gone. Son Gohan, however, was indifferent. His job was done. There was no point in lingering. "Goodbye, everyone," he said, waving his hand. In the blink of an eye, he vanished, leaving that timeline behind without a trace of regret. Another future timeline. Son Gohan traveled across timeline, arriving in another timeline. And here, things were different. Goku and Vegeta had successfully fused using the Pot-era earrings. The warrior they became stood tall and confident. Vegeto. A brilliant golden light shot through the thick smoke of battle, shattering a large portion of Fusion Zamasu's body. Arg! Damn it! Zamasu roared, his face contorted in pain and rage. But he wasn't done yet. With a guttural scream, Zamasu's body began to regenerate. His immortality ensured that no matter how many times he was torn apart, he would always come back. Vegito watched with an amused grin, his arms crossed over his chest. Ha ha! You're like a cockroach. No matter how many times I crush you, you just keep crawling back. Zamasu's face twisted with fury as he stumbled forward, his eyes narrowing to slits as he pierced through the smoke and finally saw Vegito's face clearly. His pupils shrank in shock. Why you, that face, he gasped. Vegito chuckled, standing tall and proud. The name's Vegito. Just like you, I'm a fusion born from the Pot Era earrings. Zamasu's brow furrowed in confusion. Of a mortal fusion warrior? Vegito laughed. What? You didn't know humans could fuse too? No wonder you were so confident earlier. You're more ignorant than I thought. Zamasu's eyes darkened, his anger bubbling beneath the surface as he glared at Vegito's smug face. But Vegito wasn't finished. Oh, and there's one more thing you should know, he said, his grin widening. Zamasu growled. What now? Vegito's eyes gleamed with mischief. Your Pot Era fusion? It only lasts 1 hour. Zamasu's face went pale. What did you say? Vegito nodded, his tone dripping with mockery. That's right. You haven't become a true Supreme Kai yet, which means your fusion isn't permanent. Just like us, you'll separate after an hour. The revelation sent shockwaves through Zamasu's mind. His teeth clenched in fury, his fists trembling at his sides. Damn it, he spat. That bastard Gawasu lied to me. In the distance, Universe 7's Supreme Kai, Shin, turned to Gawasu with a raised eyebrow. Master Gawasu, you didn't tell him about this? Gawasu lowered his head, his expression filled with regret. No. I didn't. But now, I wish I'd never told him about fusion in the first place. Above them, Son Gohan sat cross-legged in the air, watching the scene unfold with mild interest. His power was so immense that none of them could sense his presence unless he wanted them to. On the battlefield, Zamasu tried to mask his fear, sneering at Vegito. Humph. It doesn't matter. An hour is more than enough to kill you. Vegito's grin only widened. Oh, don't get the wrong idea. I'm not here to waste time. I'm going to kill you. Zamasu's fury erupted, a violent wave of energy surging from his body. You'll regret those words, he bellowed. But Vegito simply popped a senza bean into his mouth, chewing leisurely as he prepared for the fight ahead. That wraps up this part of What If Reborn is Gohan in Future Timeline. Thanks so much for listening. A new fanfic will take the place of this series in 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Quick reminder. What If Reborn is Gohan in Future Timeline is now on hold, since we've caught up with the author. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these 3 fanfics. What if Transmigrated in One Piece and becoming a Marine? What if Ichigo awoke his powers to save his mother? What if Transmigrated into a nightmare mode Dragon Ball world? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that as the series next. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released 1 day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.